Donald Trump says he's suffering from severe mental and emotional anguish, and he put it in a court filing, one of the classic attributes of an abuser or a malignant narcissist is to play a victim. And when Donald Trump sues in his personal capacity, he often cites his own personal mental suffering and emotional distress as a basis for his damage claim. When he sues the Pulitzer board, or when he sues CBS and 60 Minutes, which is owned by Paramount, he claims that their actions are causing him torture, that he's feeling suffering, that he feels abused. Meanwhile, we all know that Donald Trump is the felon, the sexual abuser, the fraud, the bankrupter, and he's inflicting real-world suffering on the American people. But this is part of the qualities of an abuser like Donald Trump and a malignant narcissist. I want to show you, not just by giving you a buzzy headline, but by going into the court documents and the filing, Donald Trump this week, yesterday, saying that he suffers mental anguish because he watched a 60 Minutes interview that had former Vice President Harris on, and he didn't like what she said. And even though he was too scared to do an interview himself, he thinks the way that CBS and 60 Minutes edited the piece with former Vice President Kamala Harris from October 2024 tortured him. It was mental suffering. He couldn't handle it. And folks, if he's putting this in a public court filing, that the 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris causes him mental torture and personal suffering such that he thinks he deserves $20 billion, let me posit that this individual should not be made the United States president. This individual is not equipped to lead anything. And for all of the Fox and right-wing media calling that behavior alpha, really? Let's take a look at the court filings. I could show you how the rest of the world is viewing this, and I'll show you that in a moment as well. But let's just take a look at the court filing. So the filing I want to show you is Donald Trump's opposition to a motion to dismiss filed by Paramount and CBS Interactive. Now, hat tip to, I guess, the lawyers here for filing the motion to dismiss, but Paramount and CBS want to cave and capitulate as part of a merger that Paramount desperately wants to do with Skydance for billions of dollars. But that's a whole separate story that we've covered on the MeidasTouch network. But I'm going to read for you now portions of Donald Trump's opposition to the motion to dismiss his case, because the CBS lawyers are arguing, what's his damage? He's claiming $20 billion. What's he even alleging? This case shouldn't go to a jury. This is just a BS case. He's claiming he's emotionally damaged. And Donald Trump goes, yeah, I'm emotionally damaged. I'm a very emotionally fragile guy. This is what Trump says. Look right here. Let's get into page 25. And here's what it says. It goes, finally, plaintiff's reliance, plaintiff is Donald Trump, and damages are more fulsomely discussed with respect to plaintiff's injury in fact. As noted, plaintiffs relied both on defendant's false and misleading advertisement, talking about the 60 Minutes interview with Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as their deceptively edited conduct, leading both to pecuniary damages, meaning money, and for President Trump damage to his campaign, as well as mental anguish and confusion as to the truth of the matters asserted by defendants. Mental anguish and confusion. That's what Trump is claiming. He's damaged by having to watch the interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay, so let's take a look at what they're alleging the damage is. Let's look at their own words, shall we? This is what they basically say. They go, as one trial court has noted in the past with respect to an improper attempt by CBS News to invoke the First Amendment is a shield and not a sword. Okay, well, you're citing a 1992 case, United States versus Senussi. They're not talking about CBS and Donald Trump here. Then they go on to cite the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has unequivocally found that the amendment does not reach so far as to override the interest of the public in ensuring that neither reporter nor source is invading the rights of other citizens through reprehensible conduct forbidden to all other persons. Defendant CBS on this motion seeks to wield the First Amendment as a sword, arguing that they cannot be held responsible for illegal conduct. Okay, well, why don't we get into what you're alleging the conduct is, shall we? Here's the interview and defendant's distortion thereof. Here's what Trump is alleging caused him mental anguish for billions of dollars. In the lead up to the 2024 presidential election, an interview with, by the way, I'm reading you Trump's allegation. This is from Trump's lawyer. I'm not paraphrasing. I want to show you what he's claiming is torturing him with mental anguish, where he's basically debilitated at this point. In the lead up to the 2024 election, an interview with Harris was conducted by CBS's Bill Whitaker and recorded in 2 sessions to be aired on 60 Minutes. On October 6, 2024, defendants broadcast a brief promotional excerpt of the interview, the preview, for the commercial and pecuniary purpose of advertising and previewing a special episode of 60 Minutes to air the next night, the election special, together with the preview, the broadcast. This occurred during CBS's Face the Nation when host Margaret Brennan advertised the election special by introducing the preview, describing it as being from a special election edition of 60 Minutes. During the preview, Whitaker asked Harris a question regarding U.S. relations with Israel, vis-a-vis Israel's war of self-defense against Hamas, to which Harris responded, "Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or as a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region." Plaintiffs, Donald Trump, have alleged that the accuracy of the preview led to increased engagement with the special election. During the preview, a 60 Minutes watermark appeared on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. The preview concluded with a splash screen advertising the election special to be aired the next night, and included in it an advertisement for Paramount Plus, where the election special would be streamed. The next night, October 7, 2024, the election special aired. However, in response to the same question from Whitaker, Harris gave a different answer than the advertised Harris reply. Quote, "We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for the war to end." This was one of many instances of defendants' distortion of the interview. The complaint recounts an inexhaustive list of examples of defendants' distortion of the interview in the election special. That's what they're alleging that caused Trump mental suffering, what I just read for you. Then it goes on to say plaintiffs, which it's Donald Trump, and then he joins Ronnie Jackson, the Congress member from Amarillo, Texas. Why? Because Trump and Ronnie Jackson want to forum shop and get a judge from Amarillo, Texas, who's ruled in favor of Trump and MAGA before. Plaintiffs were foreseeably and actually misled by defendants' advertisement of the election special, containing certain statements by Harris, when in fact the election special did not contain the statements represented to be included by the defendants, as well as because the interview was deceptively edited in material ways to misrepresent significant portions of what Harris said throughout her conversation with Whitaker. This led to widespread confusion and mental anguish of consumers, including plaintiffs, regarding a household name of the legacy media, apparently deceptively distorting its broadcast and then resisting attempts to clear the public record. Moreover, because they were misled by defendants' false advertising and tampering with the entirety of the interview, viewers withheld attention from President Trump and Truth Social by directing their attention to defendants' media platform. This increased defendants' engagement, viewership, and advertising revenue, and decreased the value of Trump's ownership of Trump Media and other media holdings. Similarly, to counteract the deception caused by defendants' false advertising of the interview and election special and tampering with the entirety of the interview, Trump was forced to redirect significant time, money, and effort to correcting the public record regarding the content of the interview and the election special. So that is what Donald Trump is whining about, that he says, I read you his words directly. That's what he claims causes him pain. And he said that all of these people would have gone to Trump media. And the reason that his Truth Social is not doing good, even right now, even today, May 30th, 2025, is because the Vice President Kamala Harris interview with 60 Minutes diverted people's attention to watch the 60 Minutes interview and not be, everyone would have been on Trump media otherwise. I'm not paraphrasing. I read it for you. Now, if you think that the person who's claiming that that damaged him is equipped for the presidency, well, I've got some Trump meme coins to sell you. Oh, wait a minute. He's doing that too. And you see what he's been talking about as well? His emotional distress over the Pulitzer Prize lawsuit, how the New York Times won a Pulitzer Prize for the totally incorrect reporting about Russia. Now they admit it was a scam. It never happened. Their reporting was totally wrong. They'll have to give back their award. They awarded for false reporting. We can't let that happen in the United States of America. We are holding the fake news media responsible for their lies to the American people. You want me to show you what they're saying in Germany right now about, you want to know what the world thinks about the United States? Here's what they're doing in Germany. Let me play you this clip right here. And now, folks, we made a video at the MeidasTouch Network about Donald Trump's malignant narcissism. Let me play this clip for you right here.
We will be creating so much electricity that you'll be saying, please, please, President, we don't want any more electricity. We can't stand it. You'll be begging me, no more electricity, sir.
Is someone you're thinking of hiring promising things that sound too good to be true?
I could stop wars with a telephone call.
Do their facts and figures not add up?
Actually, beyond a number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that, but...
Does the candidate seem self-absorbed?
People have come up to me and they say, Sir, thank you. Sir, thank you. Sir, I want to thank you. You've made me a hero to my wife and to my family.
In all likelihood, you've encountered the malignant narcissist. Malignant narcissism is a severe personality disorder that pairs the self-absorbed behavior of narcissists with the unfeeling manipulation of sociopaths. Unlike those who simply enjoy recognition from their peers, the malignant narcissist is driven by a desire to dominate for personal gain. And there are red flags you can look out for. Like, do they have an unrealistic view of their own importance?
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
Do they only regard other people as tools for personal gain?
I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
Do they lack empathy, even for children?
Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. I think you would believe me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking.
Do they speak with an excessive use of superlatives?
Who are the best and who are the worst? Best, the worst, biggest, lowest, best. I find it to be about the worst.
If the candidate you're interviewing exhibits some or all of these red flags, trust your instincts and show them the door. Your organization deserves an employee that can lead with integrity and respect. Stay vigilant. Look for the red flags.
And finally, this is all MAGA. They're all like this. They all play the victim. I'm a victim. Oh, my job is so hard. Here is Dan Bongino, Donald Trump's tough FBI director, deputy FBI director, whining about how hard his job is. This is so sad for him. Here, play this clip.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment, but I stare at these 4 walls all day in DC, you know, by myself, divorced from my wife, not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI, you moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
They're all suffering. Everywhere they're suffering. No, you want to know who's really suffering? The American people who can't afford rent, who can't afford housing. You're taking away people's Medicare and Medicaid. You're taking away people's food stamps. You're taking away people's livelihoods. You're destroying people's lives. That's who's suffering, not you. Because of Vice President Kamala Harris's interview, you pathetic, vile piece of trash. You really are, Donald, a pathetic, vile piece of trash. Weak, pathetic person, you. Well, hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.